Ever wondered what prehistoric humans actually ate? Beyond just raw meat, prepare to have your mind blown as we dig into the surprising truth about ancient diets. ULL discover the shockingly sophisticated culinary secrets of our ancestors and see how their meals were far more complex than you ever imagined. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever looked at your dinner plate and wondered what our earliest ancestors were eating? Did they just gnaw on raw meat and berries? Well, get ready to have your mind blown, because today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of prehistoric cuisine, and I promise you, it's way more sophisticated than you think. Forget the stereotype of a caveman clubbing a mammoth and eating it on the spot. The latest scientific discoveries are painting a picture of ancient humans as skilled chefs, resourceful foragers, and surprisingly picky eaters. So, how do we even know what was on the menu hundreds of thousands or even millions of years ago? It's like the ultimate cold case. The evidence is scattered, buried, and incredibly subtle. But scientists have become culinary detectives, using incredible techniques to piece together these ancient meals. One of the most important clues is, unsurprisingly, teeth. Our teeth are like a lifelong food diary. By examining the microscopic wear and tear on ancient tooth enamel, researchers can tell if an individual was eating tough, fibrous plants or softer foods like fruits and meat. Tiny scratches and pits, invisible to the naked eye, reveal the textures of their last meals. It's forensic dentistry, but for people who lived millennia ago. But it gets even cooler. Scientists also analyze something called dental calculus, which is essentially fossilized plaque. Yeah, that stuff your dentist is always telling you to get rid of. For archaeologists, it's a treasure trove. Trapped inside this ancient plaque are microscopic remnants of food, things like plant fibers, whole grains, starch granules, and even tiny fragments of muscle tissue. By carefully extracting and identifying these particles, we can get a direct snapshot of what someone ate. Imagine finding bits of water, lilies, seeds, and roasted tubers stuck in the teeth of a Neanderthal. It's happening, and it's completely changing our understanding of their diet. It wasn't all about the big game hunt. Plants played a huge role. Another huge piece of the puzzle comes from a technique called stable isotope analysis. It sounds complex, but the basic idea is simple. You are what you eat. The chemical elements in the food and water we consume, like carbon and nitrogen, are incorporated into our bones and teeth. Different types of plants and animals have unique isotopic signatures. By analyzing the ratios of these isotopes in ancient remains, scientists can determine the proportion of different food sources in an individual's long-term diet. They can tell if someone ate mostly terrestrial plants, marine animals, or a mix of both. It's like a chemical receipt for a lifetime of meals, telling us not just what they ate, but in what quantities. Of course, we also look at the tools they left behind. Ancient hearths, stone tools with food residue, and butchered animal bones all tell a story. When we find a collection of burned fish bones and charred seeds next to a fire pit, it's pretty clear evidence of a prehistoric barbecue. Microscopic analysis of stone-cutting tools can reveal traces of blood, fat, and plant residues, telling us exactly what they were used to process. Were they slicing meat, dicing tubers, or scaling fish? The tools hold the answers. We've even found evidence of specialized toolkits, suggesting that different implements were used for different culinary tasks, much like we have a chef's knife and a paring knife today. Putting all this evidence together, a new picture emerges. Early humans weren't just surviving, they were thriving. They had a deep and intricate knowledge of their environments. They knew which plants were edible, which were medicinal, and, crucially, how to cook them to make them more nutritious and easier to digest. Cooking was a game changer. It unlocked calories in starchy roots and tubers that would have been indigestible raw. It also killed harmful bacteria, making food safer. Some researchers even argue that the invention of cooking is what allowed our brains to grow so large, by providing us with a more energy-efficient diet. Let's talk specifics. Neanderthals, often depicted as brutish carnivores, actually had a very diverse palate. Studies of their dental plaque have revealed they ate a variety of plants, including legumes and grasses. They even seem to have cooked them, possibly making a type of porridge or gruel. In some coastal sites, We found evidence that they were harvesting mussels and catching seals. They weren't just mammoth hunters. They were opportunistic and adaptable omnivores who tailored their diet to their local environment. They understood seasons and took advantage of whatever was available, from reindeer in the north to pine nuts and moss in the south. And what about Homo sapiens, our direct ancestors? The evidence for our culinary creativity is even more stunning. We've found 30,000-year-old grinding stones in Italy and Russia, covered in starch from cattails and ferns. The logical conclusion? Our ancestors were grinding these plants into flour and likely making a type of flatbread or pancake. That's right, bread is tens of thousands of years older than agriculture. Imagine a group of hunter-gatherers sitting around a fire, baking bread on a hot stone. It's an incredibly modern and relatable image. This wasn't just about survival. It was about transforming raw ingredients into something delicious and new. This culinary innovation extends to preserving food as well. In some locations, we see evidence of large-scale animal processing, suggesting that our ancestors were drying or smoking meat to store it for leaner times. This level of planning and foresight is remarkable. It meant they weren't living hand-to-mouth, but were managing their resources for long-term stability. They were creating pantries, ensuring they had a food supply to last through harsh winters or dry seasons. This is a level of food security that represents a major cognitive leap forward. So, why does any of this matter? Reconstructing these ancient diets does more than just satisfy our curiosity. It tells us about our own, even our bodies, our teeth, and our digestive systems were all shaped by what our ancestors ate. Understanding their diet helps us understand our own nutritional needs and vulnerabilities today. The so-called paleo diet is a modern trend, but the real Paleolithic diet was incredibly diverse and varied, depending on location and time. There was no single caveman diet. It was about being adaptable, resourceful, and incredibly knowledgeable about the natural world. The story of prehistoric food is a story of ingenuity, community, and the simple, universal act of sharing a meal. From analyzing the faintest chemical traces in a fossilized bone to finding a charred seed in an ancient hearth, every discovery brings us closer to understanding the daily lives of our ancestors. It shows us that they were not so different from us. They found joy and comfort in food. They used it to build communities, and they were constantly innovating in their ancient kitchens. What do you guys think? Are you surprised by the sophistication of prehistoric cuisine? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what ancient food you'd be most curious to try. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, please give this video a thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious.